Are you feeling fatigued and can barely make it through the day without some type of caffeine?
Are you on a journey of healing your body but need a little help?
Then alkaline water is what you really need.
Alkaline water has many benefits. Alkaline water can help restore pH balance in the body. Consuming beverages such as soda and coffee can make your body acidic.
Did you know that too much acid in your body has been linked to an anemia, heart disease, obesity, diabetes, autoimmune disease, chronic pain, and other chronic conditions like gout and arthritis?
Those who use alkaline water have reported increased energy levels, clearer skin, reduction in inflammation, better digestion, and many other health benefits. I've used alkaline water for years, and it's been instrumental in sustaining my health when I was diagnosed with sarcoidosis.
Are you ready to take responsibility for your body's health?
If the answer is yes, then our alkaline water is just what you need. Bring your own bottles. It's only $3 for each gallon. To place an order or for more information, you can reach us at 773-846-3091. Thank you in advance for your support.
Welcome to the Toma Nation's weekly Sunday Warship service. We are an all-inclusive, Black-conscious, righteous movement dedicated to the social, economic, and spiritual survival of Black people in urban America. If you enjoy what you see and hear today, the Toma Nation would like to extend our invitation to you and your family to join us each and every Sunday from 12:30 to 1:30, live here on Facebook from Chicago, Illinois. Tune in and be fed by God's messengers. For more information, you can reach us at 708-730-4858. Please join me as I recite our opening. In the name of the everlasting Father, He that causes all that exists to exist, He that is self-existent, He who directs the sunships of millions of years, and He who made time the seed of the universe. Known among the ancient Kemites or Egyptians as Amun-Ra and Aton, among the Hebrews as Ansov, Yahweh, and Elohim, among the Christians as Lord, God, and Jehovah, among the Muslims and Islamic world as Allah, the one God, among the Rastafarians as Jah, Rastafari. I bear witness that all these names refer to the same one, Almighty God, and it is to Him whom I give reverence and to whom I submit. I boldly proclaim that we, the descendants of those Black men and women who survived the transatlantic slave trade, are the Lost 13 tribe, born in North America and our Renubian Kemetic lineage. I further proclaim that the blood of all the nations of the earth flows through our veins. I greet you in the ancient yet holy words of peace, Hotep, Shalom, Assalamu alaikum, Habaragani, Alafia, and Ashe. Now we are going to transition into our 13 points of what we believe and know. Number 1, we believe and know that we are not to repeat the mistakes of the past prophets and messengers of the Almighty Creator of the heavens and earth. Number 2, we believe and know that we can only establish an economic base through the application of the knowledge itself and the incorporation of the ideologies of the Honorable Marcus Garvey, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Mahatma Gandhi, and Ben Ami. Number 3, we believe and know that the prophets and messengers of the Holy Bible, the Holy Quran, and the Kemetic holy books were all Black. Number 4, we believe and know that Jesus Christ of 2,000 years was and is a Black man. Number 5, we believe and know that the knowledge of the Almighty Creator goes beyond books written by the prophets and messengers of the Almighty Creator. Number 6, we believe and know that in order to promote and coordinate unity, we must first recognize and accept the uniqueness of being able to worship our Creator, regardless of religious denomination, name, title, ritual, particular dress, or holy book, as long as it recognizes the Almighty Creator of the heavens, earth, and the universe as supreme. Number 7, we believe and know that it is impossible to tell the truth without exposing the wicked governments of the world. Number 8, we believe and know that the United States government, in collaboration with other European nations, have a denial objective to exterminate dark-skinned people of color off the earth through the act of genocide. Number 9, we believe and know that some of the most effective methods that are being used today are AIDS, birth control, alcohol and drug abuse, gang and domestic violence, systematic elimination of trauma centers, the public school system, and public aid within the Black communities of America and the world. Number 10, we believe and know that the last trick that Satan is playing on us is the dividing of us by our religious differences, religious gangbanging. Number 11, we believe and know that the conflict between the various religions are comparable to the conflict between various street gangs within the inner cities of America. Number 12, we believe and know that the war on drugs and gangs is a diabolical plot to disarm the Black community of weapons, break up the Black family, withdraw our constitutional rights, also kill and incarcerate young Black males under the undercover code name Able 2029. Number 13, we believe and know that every letter, shape, sound, and numerical value contains esoteric information that completely transcends the specific contextual meaning of the word. Our purpose: to bring about the growth of a righteous community in accordance with the laws of the Creator of the universe under the leadership and guidance of Brother Minister Rahim Chesed Aton, to provide solutions to the social and economic ills that plague the Black communities of urban America, to re-educate and retrain youth and young adults to develop positive moral values as an alternative to delinquent behaviors, because you can't rebuild a community and not rebuild the minds of the residents of the community to meet the responsibilities of maintaining the community's image. Our mission: to enhance the economic development of our communities by establishing businesses, real and personal properties, thereby creating jobs and/or entrepreneurship training programs that will reverse the concept of leaving the community to buying back the community. Our motto: let your light so shine before men that they shall see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Matthew 5:16. Now please join me as I recite our salute to the red, black, and green flag. Make sure you're paying attention and your right fist is in a ball raised in the air. Here's to this flag of mine, the red, black, and green. Hopes in this future bright, Africa has seen. Here's to the red of it, great nations shall know of it. In time to come, red blood shall flow of it. Historians shall write of it, this flag of mine. Here's to the black of it, 400 millions back of it, whose destiny depends on it, the red, black, and green of it. Oh, flag of mine. Here's to the green of it, young men and women shall dream of it, face shots and shells for it, maidens shall sing of it, waving so high. Here's to the whole of it, colors bright and pole of it, pleased is my soul with it, regardless of what it's told of it. Thanks to God for giving it, this great flag of mine. Please keep your right hand in the air as we sing our Black National Anthem.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun, let us march on till victory is won.
Black power, Black power, Black power. Black power is the power to define, develop, and defend that which is in the best interest of Black people. Black power, brothers and sisters. Welcome to our Sunday worship service here at the Toma Nation. Thank you so much for joining us today. Our speaker for today is the founder of the Toma Nation, our leader, teacher, and guide, Minister Rahim Aton. Please give him a hearty welcome as he presents his lecture for today, The Christ Child and His Guardian Angel. Thank you so much.
In the name of the everlasting Father, he that causes all that exists to exist, he that is self-existent, he who directs the sunships of millions and trillions of years, he who made time, the seat of the universe. He's known among the ancient Kemites or Egyptians as Amun-Ra and Aton, among the Hebrews as Ansar, Yahweh, Elohim, among the Christians as Lord, God, and Jehovah, among the Muslims in the Islamic world as Allah, the one God, among the Rastafarians as Jah, Rastafari, among the Yoruba tribe as Olodumare, Obatala, and many other Orisha gods. But I bear witness that all of those names refer to the same one, Almighty God. And it is to him whom I give reverence and to whom I submit. I boldly proclaim that we, the children of those Black men and women who survived the transatlantic slave trade, are that lost 13th tribe, born here in North America, and that we are of a Nubian Kemetic lineage. I further proclaim that the blood of all the nations of the world flow through our veins. I greet you all in the ancient but yet holy words of peace, in the languages of our fathers, of Hotep, Shalom, Assalamu alaikum, Baragani, Alafia, and Ashe. I am Brother Minister Rahim Aton, founder of this great movement, Toma Nation, aka Temple Mercy Association, along with the co-founder, Brother Minister Omari Jahi Aton, and our First Lady, Sister Makina Aisha Aton. Thank you for tuning in today. We have a very, very, very unique subject for you today. It is entitled The Christ Child and His Guardian Angel. And you've heard at the beginning, before I came on, all about this movement, Toma. And it was beautifully recited or read to you by our, well, what would I call it? Well, she's our host, and she's also our administrator of Toma. And her name is Ebony Stevens. And so you all give her, a good virtual applause for the great job she's doing. And our co-founder who's behind the cameras, making sure that we are being seen live. And that's Minister Omari Jahi Aton. Well, I'm just taking my time. We'll start slow. Last month, in November, we brought to you all of what Toma is about. The Temple of Mercy Association, our very beginning to what we're currently doing now. All those who are responsible for it, the ministers and all. So just go back to November 2021 and you can find out all about this great movement and what we're about. Or you can always go to our website that they'll put on sometime at the end. So this month, because by now you should know, we have what we call prescribed reading. So this month, we're going to be dealing with Satan's claws, y'all call him Santa Claus, the holiday season, which you all call the holiday season. Because you know by now that Toma does not celebrate pagan holidays. Or shall I say, Toma does not celebrate the holidays that America consider our holidays. And we do have our own Black holidays. Just study our videos and you'll soon come to know what they are. We are an all-inclusive, Black conscious, righteous movement. All-inclusive means that it doesn't matter at all who or what your religion is or your cultural understanding is about who you are, whether you're African, whether you're Hebrew, whether you're Muslim or whatever. You're all welcome here. If you don't subscribe to any of those religions, but you just believe in God, you just believe in a higher power, you just believe in something greater than you operating this vehicle and the other things in the universe, then you're welcome. If you want to come and learn more about all the other organizations and groups and religions, come here. You learn it right here at Toma. And so I want to talk to you and just get you kind of wound up and prepared for what you're going to hear this month. Right now we're practicing something called Ramadan. Not the Ramadan of Orthodox Islam, but the Ramadan that was set for Black people in America by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And Toma, we picked that up not only to use it for what it was meant for, but to share it with you, to show you and let you know that just because you pick up a truth or a formula that works from someone else does not make you that person's religion. Honorable Elijah Muhammad is Muslim, which means people of peace, and we are people of peace, but we don't go by that title. We go by the defining principle, the definition of what it is. We're not Islamic, but Islam is one who submits his will to do the will of God. And truly, by that definition, that defining principle, we do submit our will to the Almighty, to the Creator, to the great mind, to the omnipotent one, known by so many names, but still that same one God that gives life and takes life. And so in our bylaws and constitution, we put that in there because just when I read it to you, you're going to see why. We need it. We as Black people in America need this. I'm going to read it to you. All righteous members of Toma observes the month of Ramadan in accordance with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad by fasting in the month of December. The purpose is to keep the righteous, that means you, because we were all born righteous. All black people were born righteous. So when we say to keep the righteous members, that's you too. I don't care what you're doing out there. You were born righteous. You were born in sin, the sins of this world, and the iniquities of this world. But your nature is righteous. The black man and woman's nature is righteous. And so you should be doing this. The purpose is to keep righteous people from partaking in the celebration of the falsehood of the birthday of Yeshua, or Jesus Christ. The month and date of December is not the birth of Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ was born sometime in September. And if you tune in to us every Sunday, you will hear more about that. All right? Now, since we know that it is a falsehood, we don't want to celebrate. Then we want to also prevent the righteous from partaking in the celebration of the falsehood of Santa Claus. We call them Satan's claws. We don't want Satan's claws to draw us into his world during this month. We don't want to partake in the crap that you see our brothers and sisters partaking in, along with that demon master himself, Satan, Shaitan. In the Holy Quran, Iblis. So what we're saying is Satan's claws have already gotten us, so why should we be further drawn in? Listen, you catch fish in the net. Now, look at us, how most of our people are caught up in the internet. We're caught. Spiders catch lightweight creatures in a web. And look at most of our people caught in the WWW, the World Wide Web. Then we move on to December, and then we get caught up in Satan's claws again. Big, fat, overweight, have to say it, man with high blood pressure, a red nose from snorting cocaine, running around with a list of children's names, which really tells you he's a pedophile, scratching off names, coming into people's houses at night, giving gifts for their children. Not the parents, the children. You got to watch people like that. So that's not my full subject. So I'm going to keep going. And so it is that during the daylight hours, the righteous are to abstain. That means just get away from, stop. Right? Abstain from food, drink, and sex until after sundown. The righteous will also abstain from eating meat throughout the month of December. Toma has it that since most of and all of us should be vegetarians in the Toma nation, if you have not yet defeated that and you're still eating meat, then in December is when you can practice for 30 days how to abstain from eating that meat. And if you are a vegetarian during this month, those who are vegetarians will be vegan for that month, the entire month of December. Absolutely. Now, it is clearly stated in the Holy Quran, and we read both Bible and Holy Quran. It is clearly stated in the Holy Quran, all right, that fasting is prescribed for you so that you may guard against evil. It's a prescription, brothers and sisters. Now, there's a clue to how we can get out of this murder atmosphere killing, all this killing and stuff. See, all this envy, all this jealousy, spite, vengefulness. All right. It says fasting is prescribed for you so you can guard against evil. You want to reduce the killing and the gun violence? Everybody needs to be fasting. All black people in America need to be fasting right now. Right now. During this Ramadan fast. If you want to see change in your community, you must become the change that you want to see in that community. I believe that was quoted by Gandhi. But that requires a sacrifice. And Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that when you control your appetite, you can control any other desire. So we have to be able to bring ourselves under this type of control so we still observe Ramadan during the month of December, when the Nation of Islam follow Orthodox Islam now, but that's for the Nation of Islam. But all of us who are not in the Nation of Islam and are still out here in the world need to be still practicing Ramadan in December. It says Ramadan denotes the use of excessive energy. It denotes burning. Ramadan means that you will burn for 30 days from sunrise to sunset. Why burn? Well, fire is for two things. It either purifies or destroys. Now, this fire and this burning and this energy are your body making demands on you from within and from without. But your heart is saying no. It's saying no to drinking water or juice and to eating during the daylight hours. And if you ate today, brothers and sisters, and you are not, and you haven't heard about this until today, you can join in right now, because you're not charged with what you don't know. You will only be charged after knowing. We're not even allowed to watch television during this time. Now, I'm going to tell you what I've been doing. I've been looking on YouTube and looking at all of the Christ stuff. I saw Jesus the Messiah. I saw Mary and Joseph. I saw about 4 or 5 movies on Jesus, the Christ child, Mary, Joseph, all of that. And that's the type of stuff you should be looking for. You should be looking for spiritual things to look at on YouTube or Netflix. Other than that, don't watch television at all. All right? For a month, we are not to engage in sports. That means on Sunday, you can't watch the sports. And all them other days they showing. Go shopping for pleasure. You know how we just did on that Friday after Thanksgiving? Such as shopping for shoes, etc., etc. The righteous will not do any of these for his own pleasure. And when it says no sex, the righteous are not supposed to be having sex if we are not married anyway. And if you are guilty of fornication. And that's not just Toma, but that's any of us. It only mentions that the married will not engage in sexual activity during the daylight hours during this month of fasting. So it leaves out the fornicator. It ain't even thinking about the fornicator. But if you're married, then it's talking to you. The more oppressive and opposing the environment is toward righteousness, the more the determination that the believer must have in order to complete the fasting during Ramadan. Moses fasted 40 days because God was going to destroy the children of Israel, and saw that Moses was denying himself, humbling himself, and offering himself as a living sacrifice, asking God to take him instead of his people. That means that you can present yourself as a living sacrifice, something holy before God to save somebody else's life. But some of us haven't even gotten that close. Some of us don't want to make those type of sacrifices. Why? Because we become a selfish society. A little bit more about prayer and fasting. Moves the hand that controls the universe. Consecrating prayer and fasting, which means placing yourself, listen at that word coming up again, as a living sacrifice, which opens the heart of God and the windows of heaven and brings the forces of God at work on our behalf. The fasting prayer leads one far beyond the realm of human conception. It transcends the natural law, causes God to move beyond the scene with divine power. And don't we need that today? See, in your prayer, if all your prayers about you yourself, if all your prayers about what you want yourself, if your prayer don't include nobody else, if you're asking God to forgive you and you ain't saying, and forgive those who sin and trespass against you or me, then you're selfish. So I hope I helped you, and that you can get up at once and do what you need to do. right? So now I want to talk to you moving on, because everything I've been talking to you about is dealing with the righteous. See, the Creator has chosen black people in North America as his chosen people, just like he did the Israelites in the past. And inside that group of chosen people are the chosen few. I hope y'all understanding what I'm saying. This chosen few grows up as a child into a Christ consciousness. Some people talk about that person and tell them, you got the Jesus complex. Or they'll tell you, you got the Jesus syndrome or whatever. If you're the type of person that truly loves, not sexual love, but God's love, God's unconditional love. If that's you, and you know you're supposed to be exhibiting that type of personality and change in order to save your people, then you're that chosen few among the chosen people that I'm talking to. And that is why that subject was chosen about about Jesus Christ and the guardian angel. Because a lot of people think and wonder, how can a person like me, or Minister Louis Farrakhan and others, who leads with a spiritual essence and leads with God and leads with scripture, Bible and Quran. You saw the Quran. This is our Bible. This is our foundation of Toma. We read other books, but these are our foundations. People who, whatever they're doing, they lead with scripture. They lead with what thus said the Lord. Even if they nationalists, they lead with what thus said the Lord. No matter what they're into, they put God first. People like that don't fear America, don't fear any other person that's in power. People of God don't fear them because we know that God is bigger than them. And we know that God sends us our help. We follow Christ, Yeshua, as an example for us and a guide for us. Those who are the chosen few, I'm talking to you. The chosen few among the chosen people. And so we don't fear no evil, because in Psalms 23 it says, because thou art with me. Talking about God is with us. Matter of fact, we so brave that he says in the scripture, thou prepare a table, spread a whole table out. Thou prepare a table before me in the presence, not behind closed doors, but in the presence of my enemies. The Lord, brothers and sisters, is our shepherd. So we shall not want. We shouldn't want for anything. If we take care of God's business, he promised he'll take care of yours and your children. He says, I never seen the righteous forsaken, or his seed begging bread. Brothers and sisters, it's all in this book. Or his seed begging bread. Brothers and sisters, Cook County records over 1,000 homicides this year, over 1,000 murders this year, the highest since 1994. It was this type of stuff that brought Toma into existence. And we started out talking about the destruction of the black child. And we started out talking about Christmas now being called Xmas back then at that time. They changed it to Xmas. And we knew that the word Christ was Krishna, and Krishna means the black one. So we knew that Christ means black. And so when you X'd out Christ and Mas means child, you're executing the Christ child. You're executing the black child. That's what you're doing. See? And so that was brought to our attention,
and that became our plight. We went all out exposing who was responsible for trying to kill the Christ child. Who was responsible for killing off some of the chosen few people in order to convince them not to continue in the way that they are, exposing them and letting the world know who they are and what hidden hand is behind most of what's going on in our community. That's what we're here to do. That's what Yeshua did. He exposed the Romans. And he exposed the Jews that were in power. And he exposed those wicked preachers, priests. It was the chief priest conspiring with the politicians to kill Yeshua. Yes, it was. The Christ. And they're still around since that time. Their children, their children's children, generations down, still today, they're out to kill any child that looks or acts as if they have a government on their shoulders. And they try to destroy him. Let me read this to you. Hope I have time to do all of this, but if I don't, come back Wednesday. We'll be on Zoom. So we started in 1990. And all during the 90s, homicides, 900 and something at the end of the year, 1,000. And they were killing our brothers and sisters left and right. I heard a brother yesterday at a meeting say, man, I get tired of seeing brothers shot in the face and all this and whatever. I wanted to say, welcome to the show. I haven't seen that much in 2020 and 2021, but in the 90s, we were on the scene. We were on the scene when people got shot. We were on the scene at their funerals. I was a member of the Passage of Inglewood. It was myself and Pastor St. John Chisholm praying for the families, going to the funerals, going to the hospitals, looking at gunshot victims and whatnot, seeing them shot on the street. Oh, yes, we had our share in the 90s. But I'm behind people and I support them that are out there doing it. God has me on a mission more now to warn and to expose more and to let you know that what they did in the 90s as far as their tactics are the same tactics in the 2000s. They have not changed. So I have to expose them. Now let me read this. With 1,009 recorded homicides to date, 2021 is on pace to be among the worst years for homicide in Cook County history. I've never seen 1,000 homicides for the whole 17 years I've been in this office, says Cook County's chief medical examiner. He says of the victims, 156 have been children or teenagers. 96% of the victims have been African American or Latino. Homicides overall are up 40% compared to 2019. Now listen, I'm talking about the medical examiner's office. Let me tell you all something. In the 90s, I talked to a medical examiner about all these killings because we were fighting also dealing with the lack of trauma centers in our neighborhoods, our communities, where most of our people, when they got shot, they went way across town, miles away to a Christ Memorial or Little Company of Mary, or they hit the expressway and went way over on the west side, far west, to a place at that time called Cook County Hospital. And by the time we got there, they were dead. This Cook County examiner told me, and a tear came out of his eye. He said that out of all the bodies he sees, 9 out of 10 of the gunshot victims bled to death. And had they went to the nearest hospital, brothers and sisters, he would have survived. Now listen at that. That's another form of genocide with our people. That they can strategically remove trauma centers from your community, place them way away from each other, And then them the only places you have to go. That is the Xmas, the execution of the Christ child. Why? You get them when they're young. Then you got the jail system, arresting our people during puberty, our young men during their puberty years, so that they're in during that time from like 18, 17, and then they come out about 30 or 40 years, they're 40 years old, and their puberty years is up. What does that do? That's a form of extermination and execution. You're not going to have no babies in jail. You're not going to make none. That's another form of extermination and execution of the Christ child. I'm trying to tell you all that we are that chosen people. And that's why we are the targeted people. Because the chosen people are the ones that's going to rise to the top. That is prophesied. That we're to rise to the top. God's people, God's chosen. But a lot of us won't make it. But those who listen to the voices of those messengers of God crying in the wilderness, telling you to repent, showing you who that enemy is. If you listen, if you humble yourself and come in, you can be among those that the Creator is calling on during those last and evil days to be saved. Listen, he said, our numbers are always more than both New York and Los Angeles, but together. And to see that number increase even more, it's increasing more. It's concerning, said the medical examiner. Now, New York and Los Angeles is bigger than the state of Illinois, but we got more murders. Everybody was all in Illinois to deal with COVID. But when it comes to the violence, all of a sudden it's not even spoken about hard. That's what Father Michael Fleck said. He even said, even though more than 90% of the homicides were shootings, 90% of the homicides were shootings. He said gun violence remains a back burner issue. It's on the back burner. It's not on the front. But we're in a state of emergency. And every time the mayor or any politician comes on live, he should start off with what they're doing to help us expose who's behind the flood of guns in our community. Because it's a flood. It's an overabundance of guns in our community. He said, if I had an African-American or Hispanic son right now that's 9, 10, or 11 years old, I would get him out of the city. If I couldn't afford to move, I would send him somewhere. It's a killing field out there. There was a song called It's So Cold and Mean Out There on the Drug Scene by a blues band that I knew here in Chicago. He's dead now, bless his soul. The deadliest year in Chicago history, though, was not 1994. The deadliest year in Chicago history was 1991, when Toma got on that mission. And by 1994, that's when Minister Louis Farrakhan jumped on it and did a tour called Stop the Killing. And it was for men only throughout the United States, which led up to 1995 Million Man March. Toma was on the Stop the Killing, but it wasn't called Stop the Killing, it was called the Destruction of Black Youth. Then it changed to the Destruction of the Black Male. And now we're saying somebody's trying to kill us. So now, we're talking about that. Let me share with you one of the things nobody talks about as part of why there's so much killing. I'm going to read it to you. I'm going to be doing a little reading today. We must mount up on wings. This is what I'm saying about us as a chosen people of God. We got to meet Satan in the air. All right? He controls social media. He controls television, radio, He controls the music industry. And that's where he's at, in the air. The frequencies of music, the frequencies that come from the television, the waves. We got to wage a continuous war against major corporations. I've not been saying that for a while. This, what I'm reading to you, was written in 2009 by me as one of the ways to stop the killing, because we saw who was responsible. It says we got to wage a continuous war against major corporations that promote negative images of us and send negative messages throughout our community and to the world by way of radio, television, videos, movies, social media, advertising. We must name names, brothers and sisters, not the system, not the enemy, but name names. Use these airwaves. Use these frequencies to name names. Use social media. Name names. Throw out accusations. They do that to us all the time. Say who's allegedly doing something. That at least make them come forward to say it ain't them. Name names. I know it's dangerous, but you heard me earlier say who got our back. And you know Yahshua has had the same guardian angel that you and I have if you're on the same mission that he was on. All right. Let's take the Brahmin family, for instance, and how they market alcohol to our community by getting black artists that are signed to their record label to do alcohol commercials. The Brahmin family owns the Seagram Empire. Seagrams, y'all know this alcohol. And they own Universal Studios, where they produce films, movies, music, etc., etc. He owns Polygram Records, MCA Records, and his son, Edgar Brafman Jr., is one of the main CEOs of Universal Records and Studios. Right? Now you got Sumner Redstone, who owns Paramount Pictures, Blockbuster. Ain't no more Blockbuster, so I'm sure it's probably Netflix or something. Y'all got to find out who they are. Because see, it says in the Bible, Ephesians chapter 2, verse 2, it says, where in time past, in the past, we walked according to the course of this world. We walked according to the prince of the power of the air. That same spirit that now works in the children of disobedience. Alcoholism is what we're talking about. And look at these alcohol stores popping up all throughout our community. It used to be called food and liquor, but the liquor was the main deal. They were hiding behind food. Now they're getting rid of the food and liquor stores, and all you're seeing is wine and spirit stores. It says right in the Bible, the spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience. Not weed, not marijuana, brothers and sisters, alcohol, not heroin, because you're too busy nodding. Alcohol. Hope y'all hearing me. Nobody attacking them, but all our aldermen giving them the green light to set up all these wine and spirit stores throughout our community. And if you look closely, most of them are not far away from a daycare center, which spend all of them shapes and bright colors painted on their walls of all this alcohol and them big old electronic screens that they have in their parking lot, flashing all this alcohol in our faces, and our children seeing it, because the first influence of our children is through their eyes and through their ears. Teaching them bright shapes and colors, creating alcoholics for the future. So they're looking 20 years ahead now, and we're watching them subliminally, hypnotizing our children to be alcoholics for tomorrow, which is the future. I'm telling you this. But everybody marching for this, marching for that. Nobody's looking at them getting rid of the food and liquor stores and now just having liquor stores. Liquor stores. Let me tell you about the killing so we can see what's going on. Alcoholism is the cause of 84% of these traffic deaths. 80% of the homicides, did you hear me? 80% of homicides, 90% of stabbings, and 70% of all other violent crimes. 60% of all automobile accidents. Could alcohol be that tool that activates pent-up rage caused by unemployment, homelessness, police misconduct, and criminal injustice? Could that be it? Why won't our black lawyers and black judges unite against unjust laws that have 87% of black males behind bars for non-violent offenses, like using and or selling drugs? See, a black man, a black woman, if she's picked up for using drugs and being an addict, she goes to jail. He goes to jail. White people go to a rehab place. Black people go to jail. You see the inequities? You see why God brought us into the world to expose that stuff? You see why we are important as messengers of God to deliver this message to you and then deliver you back to your God and deliver you back to yourself? Do you see that? Wake up, Black America. And now, for those who don't want to believe what I wrote, here go one of your people, a PhD person, a doctor, Lawrence E. Gary. Let's see what he says to back up what I'm saying. All right? Let's see what he says. Recent evidence suggests that alcohol consumption and subsequent behavior of people who are drinking can be profoundly influenced by the situation or environment within which the drinking takes place. Alcohol was detected in 75.1% of those killed in bars or restaurants, in contrast to 38.6% to 50% of those killed at any other types of sites. Talking about the bars and restaurants. Alcohol was detected in 67.9% of victims when a physical fight was the crime circumstance leading to homicide. In 55% of victims involved in verbal arguments, talking about alcohol, 55%. 48.3% of victims in gang-related homicides. So that means that most of our homicides are not gang-related, but they're trying to make them be so. The media trying to make you think this way. Well, here go your statistics from one of your people who was bred and raised in the white man's world and got his degree, got his master's degree. He got his master's degree. Some of you all got y'all master's degree too. How do alcohol and drug abuse relate to homicide? Data shows that 45.5% of the murder cases in this country in 1978, that it involved alcohol or drugs. In a study by Wolfgang and Strong of 588 criminal homicides, 55% of the offenders had been drinking. Harper found that alcohol was involved in more than half of the homicides in Atlanta, Cleveland, Miami, and Washington, D.C. Remember, this is 1978. So just shifted to Chicago, New York, and L.A. Just shifted. More blacks than whites were victims of alcohol-related homicide. And black men, particularly those between the ages of 15 and 30, were more likely to be victims of alcohol-related homicides than were white men, white women, or even black women. Research has shown that the typical middle class or upper class killer is a white man over 30, while the typical lower class killer is a black man under 30. Alcohol consumption is rarely a factor in middle class and upper class homicide. See, they do have homicide, but alcohol ain't the factor. Rarely is that a factor, but it is a factor in more than half of the lower class homicide. In general, the drug-using homicide victim is younger than other homicide victims, whether a drug user or not. homicide victims are more likely to be male and black. The killer of both the drug user and the non-drug user is likely to be a friend. The non-drug user victim is likely to be killed in a domestic argument. The drug user victim is often killed in arguments over drugs, but while engaged in illegal pursuits. Arrest records are closely related to homicide. Previous arrests for property crime increase the odds that a person will be involved in a homicide. Researchers assume that alcoholism and drug abuse are attempts to cope with the social and economic frustration of unemployment. Underemployment. We're underemployed now, brothers and sisters, because it says job loss hit Black Illinoisans the hardest. Researchers assume. Oh, I just read that. So now you got your proof dealing with the alcohol in our community. So now, what is the solution? Well, first, some need to be an Alcoholic Anonymous, that's one. Others need to come back to God. But at the same time, Toma has a program that we call reverse engineering auditing. Again, using our research, because when you research, you know, you all school people know that y'all read other people's stuff, what they say, statistics, this, that, like I just did. And then you come up with something for your people. That's what we supposed to do. That's what you supposed to have done going to college. That's what you supposed to have done. Learned all that and came back here and started teaching our people. It's called reverse engineering auditing. It's going backwards to find your way to peace of mind. Now, when you find your peace of mind, that's your beginning of your road to God. A lot of us ain't at peace. A lot of us is strung out with stress. A lot of us is so messed up that we just going off on people for any little small minor thing. And you know that COVID didn't help. Putting everybody in the house, you can't talk to each other. You got to stand 6 feet away from everybody. We are human. And standing close to people and talking to one another and shaking hands is our way of life. Hugs. They took that away for a whole year and then tried to push it all the way through 2021. People standing in their homes and they wasn't getting along in the first place. So homicides and domestic violence went up. All this, brothers and sisters, is by design. I'm telling you that right now. Some higher up corporate billionaires are funding all of this stuff that's designed to kill off the Christ child. That's designed to kill off anybody that might be coming here to try to warn us, save us, and get us up out of this condition. Just like they did Christ. Reverse engineering auditing is a process that relieves a person of that powerful adverse effect of his past pain and his emotional discomfort. The removal of these discomforts must be done by undergoing at least 360 hours of this reverse engineering auditing process. Yes, we can't help. We come with solutions. We can't listen to any of our videos. And just to show you what we're talking about, we don't just tell you we got a solution. We first become the first people who tries it out among us in Toma. And then we bring it back to you. So, you know, most times you hear me give you certain prescriptions for certain herbs and vitamins and minerals. And somebody asked me yesterday, do you take that vitamin? I say, sure. I certainly do. And I say 90% of what I tell you to take and any supplements I have used. And if I haven't, I'll let you know. And you try it and you tell me how it turns out. So now, We want to reduce the killing, then we got to attack those alcohol stores and we got to vote them dry out of the community. Then we got to gather our people up and help them get those what we call microchips out of their mind that was embedded in them during certain traumatic experiences that they were growing up in North America. Once we remove that and replace it with knowledge of themselves and their God, then you're back to becoming that black Christ child that you were supposed to be. Then you can evolve from human being to supreme being. And so let's talk about one of our stars, our Christ children, and his guardian angel. In the Bible, Matthew 2, verse 1 to 8, and then verse 12 and verse 16. I'm going to read it. Now, when Yeshua was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east and are come to worship him. When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes, did I say chief priests, brothers and sisters? I said priests, not just regular priests, the chief of priests and scribes. That means news reporters. That means lawyers that write up law and enforce law. That means judges. They all came together. And he demanded of those three wise men, where was Christ born? Where should he be born? And they said unto him, in Bethlehem of Judea. For thus it is written by the prophet. And behold, this is what was written. And behold, Bethlehem in the land of Judah are not the least among the princes of Judah. For out of thee shall come a governor that shall rule my people Israel. See, this is why they kill off people, black people who come into the world with a government on their shoulder. Talk about being a black nationalist. A lot of people don't want to be black nationalists. They'd rather be civil rights activists. Civil rights activists, and what they're pushing for black people is to, they call it inclusion. But I call it like a cyborg. They trying to get us in mainstream society and get the same equal opportunity that the white man has. To be on equal footing with him. A black nationalist sees a nation. A black nationalist sees a nation for his people. A black nationalist knows that in America are two nations, one black, one white, separate and unequal. Knows this. So let me read some more. Back then, it's just like it is now. Then Herod, when he had privately called these wise men, this was not a public call. He called the wise men and the scribes and the chief priests all together. He had a certain group that worked for him and inquired of them diligently, what time did that star appear? And he sent them to Bethlehem and said, go and search diligently for the young child. And when ye have found him, bring me word again that I may come and worship him also. And being warned of God in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed into their own country another way. That was after they saw the Christ child. They bought him frankincense and myrrh. These also are known as three kings, so they ruled certain countries over that area. So kings came to bow and give this Christ child what was rightfully his. I'm trying to tell you, when you come back to God through Christ and gain your Christ consciousness, if you take care of his business, he'll take care of your business. You'll be a king walking around among your people. And believe me, it has nothing to do with a whole bunch of material, because God will make sure you get that too. I know. And I promise you, he will. So then Herod, when he saw that he was marked of the wise men, was exceedingly wroth, mad, angry, and sent forth and slew all children that were in Bethlehem and in all the coast thereof, not just Bethlehem, the surrounding suburbs, killed all male children 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had diligently inquired of the wise men. See, sometimes when they asking you questions, you got to be quiet. Because they getting knowledge and information from you to go move out on your people, especially most of y'all that work for the sick in the government. And you go to these meetings and they want to hear from you and asking you questions and you telling them everything. You give them all the statistics, everything, who somebody is. And that's what they do with these grants. That's how they find you too. They learn the statistics of your neighborhood, your block. Who's doing good in the hood? Who's helping? Who's giving? Who's caring? Who's forgiving? Who's trying to seek something for themselves? And when I say themselves, they're people. They look for you and they draw you in and they give you a job and then they promote you out of influence. Yes, Jedediah, they meant to promote you out of influence. Yes, Jamal Green, they're going to promote you out of influence. Politics is not where men of God are supposed to be. They can be in the room, but they should not be that politician, because politicians are known to be liars. I said known to be liars. You can be a righteous person, and you get in politics, you're going to get corrupt. I promise you that too. Now, let's talk about that star that was seen in the east, because it's probably almost time for me to go. That star was not a star, brothers and sisters, because I'm going to give you some information on stars so you can see that if they saw that, it was not a star, but it was a vehicle behind that light. And this vehicle moved, and the three wise men followed, and it hovered, Hovered, above this barn where Jesus was, and Mary and Joseph. And it was cold that night, and they had the cows breathe over Jesus wrapped in a blanket so he could stay warm. And it had to be a weekend because there was no room at the inn. Every one of the different hotels and motels they went to were full. And he was born in a very unusual place and space. And Bethlehem, brothers and sisters, was the ghetto. And so it's even showing you, as in the Holy Quran, it says Jesus and his mother serves as a sign of where you will find Christ's children and Christ-like people that comes into the world to do the biddings of the Creator, of God. He will come from the inner cities in North America, sent to you, Black America. You better wake up. Don't be asleep. Let me tell you and show you that wasn't a star. If you ever been, this came from a book called Black Root Science. If you ever been far away from city lights, you'll know that when we look at the starry sky on a clear, dark night, we see countless stars covering every inch of the sky. But when we look at the sky, if you was above the earth, we see a vast emptiness when the space shuttle was up there, between our earth and the nearest neighboring star. If we let our mind think about this, we realize that even though the stars seem close to each other, far, far up in the sky, they cannot really be that close together. If they were, we would see stars in our own sky above the earth as close as we see the moon. So now they saw a star, which is not usual that you will see a star that close. They saw that so-called star as close as you would see the moon. Evidently, it wasn't a star. Why? Because the truth is, the nearest star to our sun is 32 trillion miles away. That tells us that all the stars above even though they seem close to each other, must be separated by about the same distance as well. It's like looking at the lights of a distant city. You drive and coming into the city. You know, if you ever travel and you in that night light, you see the stars, ain't no street lights and no lights that be on the expressway, and you see all them stars look like they clustered all together. But each one of them are 32 trillion miles apart. Listen at me. All right? But now you get closer coming into a city, you see the lights. And it look like they all together until you come into the city and you see they spaced apart. So it says here, it's like looking at lights of a distant city. They seem closely packed together. But when you reach the city, you realize that there's plenty of space between the lights. Looking from a distance gives the illusion that they are close together. The same is true with the stars. Our intuition tells us that if we could travel to one of the many stars above, we would discover that it sits alone in the sky, just like our sun, separated from its nearest neighbor by about the same distance of 32 trillion miles. Did you hear me? 32 trillion miles apart. Now, you tell me if they saw a star, and you tell me what star moves. In that ship were Jesus' guardian angel. In the garden, if you read in the Bible, Jesus brought his disciples in the garden, and he went off to pray. And the third time that he came back after praying to see the disciples and they were asleep, the third time that he went back, he said two angels appeared. Where did they come? Actually, it should have said two men appeared. Two beings appeared. Not human, but yet beings. Not woman and not man, not man, because man is the universal ethnicity throughout this universe. I know you don't like it. You just study it yourself. So now, these two men appeared, and they comforted Jesus because he was crying and sweating and afraid. He didn't want to go and die. He knew what his destiny was. He said, Father, take this cup away from me. Then right after he said that, he called himself and said, no, if it be thy will, let your will be done. Then the angel said, look, we already set this up. See, they got strategies too. And if you fast, and if you pray, and if you eat one meal a day, you tune in to the frequency where they speak. Because they speak telepathically. They speak telepathically. All right? You can tune in. I know I got them. That's why I don't fear this America, because I know the great mind sent them to watch over people like us. I know you got questions, and I'll accept them. Come Wednesday when I'm going to be taking questions and answers. You'll be getting answers. All right? So now, they told him that at a certain time, I want you to get up and run into this tool shed. And we're going to beam you up to that star that was shown over the barn when you was born. Then you can watch everything take place. And Judas is going to take your place. All that's supposed to happen to you, going to happen to him, the one that sold you out. And he's going to get beaten beyond recognition. And they're going to hang him on the cross. And you're going to watch it. And for all those who became Christians after Paul said it down in Antioch, then you all hold on to that. But to those who want to rise up above that, can understand that, yes, on planet Earth, that scenario was played out. But Yahshua watched it from the ship. He had already been taken up. Then in 3 days, he came back down and he had on gardener's clothing because he got the gardener clothing from out of the tool shed. I'll tell you the whole story around Easter because I know it's almost time for me to go, and they'll put that up for me so I can see how much time I have. And then I'll know where I need to go from there. 15 minutes. Okay. Thank you. So I will share a little bit more. Now, you know about them stars, so that couldn't have been a star. Some people say, well, around that time it was Jupiter. Around that time it was anything but the truth. Okay. Do Jupiter move? Can you follow Jupiter and it hover over a mountain? They followed the star. It moved. It was not a star. Those men that visited Jesus, there was another time when Jesus was up on a mountain. I'm talking to you, Christ children. Jesus was on a mountain. He took Peter, James, and John, the most spiritual ones among the 12, because they had to be able to connect. Then a cloud came out of nowhere, dark cloud. Just like during the time of Moses, this dark cloud that always appeared over the mountain. And it started thundering and lightning. And two men appeared next to Jesus. The disciples fell on their face because they were afraid. And they said that Jesus stood between Moses and Elijah. Where did they come from? They must have been on this ship behind this cloud. Then when they went away and the clouds left and the sun came back out, the disciples stood up. Jesus said, don't be afraid. I had to show you this. I'm backed by some stuff. And ain't nothing this world can really truly do to me. If I do my Father's will, he'll take care of me. And it says in the scripture, if you lay down your life, you'll pick it up again. What life? Married life, raising children, wanting just a house with a pool in it, trying to be a millionaire so you can have all the things of this world. That's life. Lay that down, that you might gain it again. And so Jesus, even in the garden, at one time in the garden, I have to give you the times of when this happened, but I have to tell you this so you can understand what he said. Peter had cut off one of the soldiers' ears and Jesus reattached it. And he said, put away your sword. He said, don't you know that if I called my Father right now, he would send legion. One legion is 10,000. If it ain't, it's just correct me, but I know it's thousands. He said, my Father will send legions to help me. He's telling you that there's a military, spirit, heavenly, not spiritual, heavenly military that will show up in those planes, those ships, and they'll tear up some stuff. He said if it was meant to be so, that's what would happen. But only one ship appeared, that big bright star, and he was beamed up so he can watch the whole process take place. Those are his guardian angels, and those are yours too, if you decide to come in and do God's bidding. And that's expose these devils. So we're talking about the Christ child. We're talking about the black child and his guardian angel. I should have put an S on it. The black child. Now, when we say child, don't get all tripping out. And you know how some people, oh, he talking to the next generation. No. Many messiahs are born into the world. Potential messiahs are born into the world per generation. Each generation. Some make it to the point where they start doing their duty that they're supposed to do. Others die before they get there. So it's like a system. All right? So now they come into the world. Christ children. Some are millennials. Some are Generation Z. Some are Generation X. Some are baby boomers. Yes. We're out here. And we're scattered throughout the United States and throughout the world. Soon to meet up. Soon to meet up. In what form? Will it be telepathic? I don't know. Will it be in person? I don't know. I know that the more or the less that we depend on social media, and these gadgets, the closer you'll get to being able to communicate. Yahweh Elijah Muhammad knew and Yahshua knew that all letters, their shape, their sound, their numerical value has esoteric information that completely transcends the contextual meaning of the word itself. And when you tap into that and you understand about letters and shape and their numerical value, you tap into the minds of the scientists of this world, and you are privileged to hear their plans they have against us as a people. This is how we found out that there was a conspiracy dealing with all that killing back in the 90s, and it's still a conspiracy today. Can you imagine they waited years to do this again? Because they ain't got no other thing. They just wait. And because we so separated by these titles, Generation X, Generation Y, that we don't come together and listen to our elders so they can tell these past histories. Since they separate us, they keep on pulling the wool over our eyes every 10 and 20 years. Malcolm X said being bamboozled all the time. This always happens. But see, you have to listen to your elders, or you have to find some messengers of God that are out here. And those who know they're supposed to be doing this job need to stop what they're doing and flee to Toma at once to get on your mission. And you are protected. See, we got another thing that we call watch patrol in the We Care Coalition. And this coalition is forming watch patrols throughout, but we're focusing on the Chatham neighborhood in Chicago. We also have the OMIB, which you see me in this jacket. This is our military uniform with the red, the black, and the green, given to us by the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. And we have our patch, the original men in black. And then we have, let me see, the name of our movement, Toma, Temple of Mercy Association, with a hand and a rising phoenix coming up out of the ashes after 500 years. Yes, and we patrol our communities, and we're looking for men like you who wants to be a part of this. Let's stop talking and start walking. You can call area code 419-777-3209 or 773-441-4392. Join us today. And let's hit these streets, brothers, and let's take back our community. This is the flyer that we pass out in the Chatham neighborhood. We call it for black men to be part of a community patrol and watch group in the Chatham area, preferably, but you can be anywhere in Chicago and join, long as you know that's where we're going over to Chatham for this watch patrol. We also call for a ceasefire in selected areas. We did a press conference, the We Care Coalition did, and we did it in front of the Cook County Medical Examiner's Office, not knowing that I would see this article that just came in about the 1,000 people dying or being killed. I didn't know it, but we stood in front of the medical examiner's office and we talked to our people and we exposed the enemy of our people as far concerning this gun violence, this mass shootings, these drive-by shootings. They already exposed that it was a white man hitting the expressway, shooting people on the expressway when they was blaming it on black people. And yes, we know that some people come to our neighborhoods masquerading as so-called, quote-unquote, gangbangers, but you notice that mostly all our shootings are related because they know each other. But they come through the community, and because they pegged and marked as gangbangers, they'll shoot somebody and leave, and we'll think it's from the other block. To keep pushing all of this killing. And we know that it has a lot to do with real estate grabbing, taking our communities from us. We know that it has a lot to do with destroying a certain age group of people, making sure that they hopefully, in that Russian roulette method, took out one of the Christ children. They hopefully think they could do that. They don't want to let go of their power. They don't want black people to control the planet. They want to hold on to it. And they're going to die trying. And they're going to kill us off. They can't kill us off completely because the Son is involved. Yes, the Son of God is involved. That Son of God gives us what we need to survive. It's called promise, which is absorbed through your spleen. Through your spleen. And what the Son gets from us, and I know you can't believe it, but thoughts travel at 24 billion miles per second. And the Son feeds off of the thoughts of the black man and woman. Now take us out and the sun goes out. You don't want to change that, do you? So you do it slowly. And you use a certain age group so that the ones that's young and coming up, and you take them out. Or you kill people around them that they love. They tried to do that to Jesus. I'm going to say this and I'm going to close out. Jesus was healing people in a house and it was crowded. And they said to Jesus, Jesus, your mother and your brother outside. What should we do? Jesus didn't listen. So they said it again. And Jesus said, who is my mother? Who is my brother? Only those who do the will of my Father in heaven is my mother and my brother. Now, the enemies were all around him. But if he'd have said, oh, stop everything stop. I got to introduce y'all to my mother and my brother. Let them in, make room, move out the way. They said, yep, that's where his heart is. That's where his emotions is. Take them out, he'll stop. So they'll take out people around you. They'll take out people around you, Brother Lamont Record, to stop you from doing what God sent you to do. Come on home to the Toma. We don't make you join, and we don't stop you from leaving. We got rules of conduct that's based on moral, righteous behavior that separates you from the selfish behavior of our people. You can work through this movement and do all the work that you're trying to do, being covered by the grace of God. No man is an island unto himself. I better shut up. I think my time is up. Boy, I could keep going. Come see us Wednesday. Be on the lookout, Toma Nation on Facebook. Be on the lookout for Wednesday at 7 o'clock. And we'll take you further into what you've heard me say today. We're looking forward to seeing you. Thank you for listening. God bless you. God keep you. I leave you as I greeted you in the ancient but holy words of peace. Hotel, Shalom, Assalamu Alaikum, Barakani, Alafia, and Ashe. I hope you learn who the Christ child is, because it's plural, and our guardian angel. Peace.
Thank you so much for joining us for our weekly Sunday worship service. We hope that you have enjoyed our lecture today from our leader, teacher, and guide and founder of the Toma Nation, Minister Rahim Aton, on the Christ child and his guardian angel. If you have enjoyed what you have heard, please feel free to support us on Cash App at TOMANATION. Once again, that's TOMANATION. And you can always reach out to us by shooting us a message on our Facebook or on our YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining us, and please feel free to share this video. Peace and blessings, and have a blessed week.
The Toma Nation would like to invite you to our holiday cheesecake fundraiser. Obtain delicious types of cheesecake that you can choose from, starting with traditional cheesecake, chocolate chip, mint chocolate chip, chocolate marble, pineapple coconut cream, key lime, blueberry, pumpkin, strawberry, pecan caramel, turtle, raspberry fudge, and cookies and creams with Oreos. These are pre-cooked cheesecakes, and they are going for the low price of $21 and $25 each. Only our traditional cheesecake, chocolate chip, and mint chocolate chip are selling for $21. All other cheesecakes are selling for $25. So get your holiday cheesecake order in now by sending your Cash App payment to $Toma Nation. Again, that's $TOMANATION. Or Zelle us at 773-653-6304. Again, that's 773-653-6304. We look forward to your supporting of our fundraiser, and we thank you in advance for all that you do. Have a blessed holiday.